I'm live. Awesome. Hey guys, 2 times in one day. I am so happy to be here with you. My name is Tammy Anderson Ward, and I am the conference producer for the Energy Healing Conference. And today I am so excited to introduce you to someone who is just so awesome. She has been at some of our conferences recently, and she's becoming a quick favorite for many. And she has been doing the emotional release breathwork sessions at the end of our last 2 conferences. And here with me today, she's going to be giving you a sample of how to breathe properly. So if this has ever been a thing for you, and you would love to be able to just kind of transition that, stay tuned. So her name is Jana Lynn, and she goes by Jana. I call her Jana. She's always loved people and movement. And after running hurdles and high jump in NCAA University, she settled into life as a mom and a wife. She used her exercise physiology degree to feed her passion for helping others with hobby job as a personal trainer and health coach. Jana offers health and wellness coaching to anyone wanting to elevate her life. She helps you through nutrition, exercise, breathwork, lifestyle changes, emotion, and life coaching. One size does not fit all, so Jana customizes a plan that will bring results that last a lifetime. Mind, body, spirit extensive experience includes a bachelor's in exercise physiology from Utah State University, personal trainer through American Council on Exercise, certified health coach from International Health Association, certified lifestyle and weight loss consultant from American Council on Exercise, shamanic breathwork facilitator, and so much more. I cannot believe I just read all of that. That was a lot. I'm so excited. And then we also want to give you some tips about, for those of you who are coming to the experience at the Layton Conference on April 15th, you want to bring a pillow if possible, and maybe even a yoga mat or a blanket. Okay, here we go. We're going to introduce you to Jana. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And I'm actually going to go ahead and pop your website up on the screen here so people can find you quickly if that's something that they're wanting to do. If they can't come to the conference, how do people connect with you?
Really, the best way is on getlivingfit.com because I have my calendar on there so you can see all of my local and online classes. I teach, both. And then there's also a lot of ways to book appointments with me or purchase some of my pre-recorded sessions. So that's really the best way.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. And we also have your Facebook page is Get Living Fit. And I also just want to add before, because I know you're going to give us a little demonstration and teach us how to breathe correctly, which is so huge. But I want to show really quickly also, this is the link on where they can go to purchase stuff if they can't come to the conference. Maybe they live in Louisiana or Florida or New York or somewhere else, and they want to be able to join in and participate from home. They can just go right here to this link on your website and just purchase stuff and to go right along with it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got clients from Germany, Florida, all over. So that's having an online place has really been a game changer.
That is awesome. Well, very, very cool. So I'm going to have you go ahead and I'm going to turn the time over to you so you can jump right in and teach us how to breathe correctly.
Awesome. So I wanted to just first start with the fact of why we need to breathe correctly, right? So many people, when I first talk to them, they think, well, I have been breathing my whole life. What do you have to teach me here? And I just want to point out that when we're born, we do usually breathe the correct way, but we have things called mirror neurons where we actually start to replicate and mirror the people around us. And so we start to breathe like them. And if they've had any stress or trauma or injury, then they start to breathe differently. And so then we copy that as young babies. And as we start to grow and mature, life gets stressful. Things happen and our life is sedentary. So we're not doing as much as we were designed to do in the first place. So when all of that happens, we start to tighten and constrict the muscles around our respiratory system, and our diaphragm no longer opens as much as it should, and our intercostals between our ribs no longer stretch and expand like they are supposed to. And so we really start to take shallow breaths, quick breaths, especially if you've had any trauma or prolonged stress in your life. Then it really contracts down and we lose the capacity in our lungs that we were meant to have. And so we end up being, chest breathers, where we breathe and our shoulders go up and down. And that's actually not the way we were designed to breathe. Or it'll be like really quick, shallow, little breaths. And so breath work is hugely important to be able to retrain those muscles, strengthen them, get them flexible again so that we can breathe. But then not only that, it actually affects our mental health and our physical health as well, which I can go into so much detail if we had, hours here, but it's very, very important, right? So I think I'll just show you the correct way to breathe, and then I'll show you from there what we'll be doing at the conference, the Energy Healing Conference, during the breathwork session. And then you'll be prepared if you're going to come with us, okay? So the correct way to breathe really is by expanding into our bellies here, okay? So we're going to take a big, deep breath in. I'm going to show you my mouth and my belly here. So we'll take a deep breath in and let it expand like you're pregnant. So it's going to go. And you see how all of that expands on the inhale? And then as we exhale, we actually use those muscles in our belly to contract and push the air out. Okay, so it's actually expanding, but then actually using the muscles to then push in. So again, we're going to do that again, and I'm going to show you one more detail about it. So we're going to take a deep breath in, and not only is my belly going to come out, I want you to notice that even my ribs here come out to the side a little more. You see how there was a little movement there. Okay, so that's the difference between a belly breath, which is just letting your belly expand, which yoga and pranayama teaches belly breaths. It seems to be a pretty popular term, but the correct way is to involve that belly and the diaphragm so that it's coming out to the side. So that's a diaphragmic breath. And that is actually the correct way we should be breathing, but we should also be breathing through our nose. When we breathe through our mouth, we're actually messing with our mental health. We're messing with so much of our physiology. We were designed to breathe through our nose. So once again, now it's going to be through our nose. Okay. All right. So that's just like the simple, basic way to breathe and the way we should be breathing throughout our days. I have multiple daily breathwork practices that you can do with me through that getlivingfit.com shop tab, because having a daily practice is what's going to help you get those stronger muscles, help you correct that breathing pattern so you can heal any mental health issues. You can heal any physical ailments through your breath. And there is so much science to back that. It's amazing. So that is our daily practice type breath. But I want to, if it's okay, Tammy, to show you the breath that we're going to be doing during our Energy Healing Conference session. That session is called Emotional Release Breathwork. And the purpose of this class is to release emotions, just like it says. When we go through life, stress happens, maybe a trauma happens, our body naturally goes into fight or flight. And that fight or flight response, if we do not fully act it out, like if we get the urge to run away from something scary or to fight back, or even if it's just to yell and scream, right? Like we get this urge from that fight or flight response, but we hold it in and we're like, nope, that's not appropriate. I'm not going to act like that. we're actually stopping something that needs to happen. And if we really stuff that down and we just pack it away, I always like to do this. I'm like, it's like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put it down here in my pocket, right? Like, I'm not going to act out. I'm not going to let that fight or flight response happen. When we stuff it down like that, we actually leave it in our body and it stays there as tension, as an energy blockage. And that's like the whole purpose of energy healing, right? Is to let and get rid of those energy blockages. And this breathwork session is all about releasing and getting rid of those energy blockages that were caused by emotions and that fight or flight response that didn't get to finish. Okay, so we're going to do this specific breath pattern. I might even add in some others, but I want to teach you the main one. And we'll do it for the majority of the session, probably about half an hour of this breath. Okay. And what it is it's a Sufi breath, and it's another name for it is called a 3-part breath. So we're going to be breathing in. About 80% of our lung capacity is going to go into that belly, like I showed you, that diaphragmatic breath where we're stretching out our belly and our ribs. And then the next 20% of our lung capacity will take a second inhale into our chest and stretch out our chest. And then we exhale. So here's how it looks. So it's going to go. Okay, so and it is through the mouth on this one, because of the specific response we're trying to get is to engage our sympathetic nervous system, which is why we're using our mouth rather than our nose. So we're going to go, if you're watching this with me, you guys, I would love for you to do this with me. Okay, so you're going to put one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest, and we're going to do those 2 inhales and then an exhale. And let's do 6 of them and see how we feel. So we're going to go. Okay, such a simple breath, but it is so powerful. By just doing those few 6 breaths, you maybe started to feel a little tingly, a little lightheaded, and that's beautiful. That's actually what we're looking for. And during this session, we'll be laying down and I'll guide you through that with some thought prompts and more coaching on, how to do it and what that means. But it really is a very powerful healing breath work. And when you release these emotions through this breath work, you come out another person, you increase your vibration, and you can get rid of things like depression, anxiety, PTSD. It is really, really powerful. So I hope that you guys will come and join me I'm hosting that class at 6 p.m. at the Energy Healing Conference in Layton.
Okay, and I just have to tell you, I actually did get lightheaded. I was like dizzy and everything, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what Jenna was telling me about, that like breath work is so powerful. You don't realize, of course I have to stay breathing at some level, at some point, in order to stay alive. But like I shared earlier on our Facebook live when I was on earlier, that I had a brain injury last year. It was actually last March. So not this last March, but the March before. And every time I would get in the car to drive, I would feel like I'm going to pass out. And when I've talked to some of the experts, they're like, well, are you breathing? And I'm like, of course I'm breathing. I'd be dead if I wasn't breathing. But it's not the same, because like here you're talking about like a completely different thing. You're not just talking about like everyday breathing all the time. You're talking about very intentional types of breath with, like a focus and like an objective, what you want to accomplish at the end. Can you tell us just briefly? I know that you have to go in just a minute and everything, but I want to just talk about like what kind of things has it done for you personally? Like, why are you so passionate about it? And I know that there's also people who are watching who maybe they're practitioners themselves and they've been considering learning breath work to add to their like tool belt. Mm-hmm. What I mean? So I'll have you talk on that for just a moment.
Yeah. So as you were saying, like with you getting lightheaded when you go to drive, it's because you are probably holding your breath, whether you notice it or not. you may have been doing really shallow breaths because it's a stressful event, reminding you of the accident. And so as we work through those emotions during, like you said, specific intentional breath work, you can actually release that traumatic event. You'll always remember it, right? But releasing that physical response, that the tightening and the constriction that happens to your body, we can release that through the breath work, so that when you do get in that situation again, you can breathe through it, breathe calmly, breathe deeply, and it's just like no big deal again. So breath work is huge for healing traumatic events. And that is why I fell in love with breath work. And I'm going to get emotional about it. I found breath work at a really challenging time in my life. I was going through, I'm like deciding how much detail you want to hear. My husband at the time was really going through some stressful things, and he had become more and more abusive, like very emotionally abusive, and then started to get physically abusive. And I found breath work through yoga. Actually, they use a lot of pranayama during yoga. And I thought, well, I've done yoga a million times and I don't understand why this class is so healing for me. And I realized it was the breath work. So I started researching and looking into what the breath is and why I felt so different. As a personal trainer, I thought I knew everything about the body. That's my physiology degree. I thought I knew everything about the body. But as I started researching breath and why it was helping me get through a really challenging time, it all made sense. I was like, wow, this is amazing. So then I decided to become a breathwork facilitator. And as I did, I was able to do this emotional healing breathwork, the shamanic breathwork that I will be sharing with you guys at the conference. And I had never experienced anything like that. I was, crying through things I thought I had healed. I was taking off layers of like walls and what's like cords and binding that I had really constricted around myself in trying to heal myself through that challenging time. And I was able to let all of that go and find my true self, find my limiting beliefs. I was able to connect to my divine source and know the next steps for me. I was able to actually heal my gut, because I'm sure a lot of you know during stressful times, it really messes with your stomach. And I ended up with ulcers and all of that. And through breath work, I was able to heal my gut lining. Oh my gosh. I had major downloads during breath work where I got these huge, brilliant ideas that when I would act on them, they would work. Breath work has been the game changer. It has become something that is near and dear to my heart that I just cannot help but scream from the mountaintops. And I want everyone to know that they can heal themselves through breath, something they already have inside of them. So yeah, I'm pretty passionate about it.
Well, I can tell, and I just appreciate that so much, because not everybody's the same. And sometimes we go through things that one thing may have helped someone else, but that doesn't mean that's going to be what it is that helps us. And yeah. I like being able to bring different experiences to the conference that maybe someone has wanted to try, but they haven't had the opportunity. And so here at this conference, you're going to be teaching a little bit, but then you're going to be going into an actual experience. And at the end of a day, at the end of a conference day, that is so powerful. It's like a capstone. It's like the closing, it's kind of like the frosting on a cake kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah, I've loved being at the end of the conference. It really does fit in perfectly.
That's awesome. All right, you guys, I appreciate you being here, watching either live or on the replay. Thank you so much. And Jenna, thank you for your time today too. I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you. Have a great day, you guys.
See you later, hun. She's so awesome. She tuned in she was out of town and tuned in to be with us today. I feel so grateful that she was able to make that happen. I do have a link so that you can go ahead and click on so you can learn more about the other speakers that are going to be there at our April 15th conference in Layton, Utah. It is going to be so awesome. We have hundreds of people already registered for that conference. And if you have been wanting to try breathwork or come to a conference, I would love to invite you to go ahead and reach out to me today. Here's my private email. You can send me a quick email and I can hook you up with a pair of tickets for free to come to this conference. This is again April 15th, Layton, Utah. We'll see you there. Thanks, everyone.